Maybe this will be the last episode of the Lincoln Green left-hand drive car. Let's hope so. And before you find out why this car is still in my yard, check your subscribe please if you're not, why ever not. Click the dingy bell, comment down below, hit the thumbs up, hit the thumbs down if you absolutely must. It all helps those algorithms. If you want to contact me, then it's churchhouseclassics, and that's all one word, at gmail.com. And if you want to support the channel, and every single donation is very, very gratefully received, then there's a PayPal me link scrolling down here. Enjoy the feature. Right, so it's kind of at the tail end of the last video, and I didn't really mention it because it just was, I've done it 1,000 times before, but ABS light came back on while I was on one of my test drives, and it turned out to be the original sensor on this side. So if you remember, the fault that first came up when I put the ABS all back together was that side. Replaced that one. Now I've replaced that one. Both parts are available, brand spanking new from Brit Parts. So that's gone in. ABS fault is now gone away. It's behaving itself. And then the customer reminded me, oh, by the way, did you double check that where the coolant was going to? Well, I had done very early in the project, and I couldn't detect any real leaks in the car. Now, it was possible that the radiator matrix was leaking, but I didn't really dig into it because the radiator and the engine are going to get replaced anyway. So I figured leaking core plug, possibly a head gasket, minor head gasket issue, possibly the radiator. And couldn't really find any way that the water was leaking. Then I noticed that there was a little puddle of water underneath the back of the engine. I thought, oh, I wonder what that is. Well, it turned out that it was the top heater hose at the back there that goes through the bulkhead. And the top heater hose was, that's interesting, was loose. So I tightened it. Thought, let's tighten that up. Let's get that sorted out, because it doesn't want to be loose. And then I pressurised the system, and it held. I don't go berserk when it comes to pressurising the system, so you don't really want to go much above 10 psi. So I put about 8 psi in there and left it, and it stayed at 8 psi. Then all of a sudden it started dropping quite quickly, and I thought, oh, right, something's just gone. Well, there was a flood. The car's on a bit of a jaunty angle at the moment, so my slab here is not exactly level, so the car's definitely got a lean down to that side. But anyway, the water was pouring off the back end of the sill down here. So, oh, you bastard! So carpet absolutely saturated, and once it was all out, all I could really see was the rusty puddle directly underneath the heater unit here. So it would appear that the matrix has failed. Matrix. Probably can't say the word matrix on YouTube anymore. It's going to get me blacklisted. So, having done the entire interior, got the whole bloody thing back together again, it's all going to come apart again because I've got to get the heater out. You ungrateful sod, you. Really? Oh. I'm going to start really by taking the centre console out, steering wheel off, centre console out. Let's see what's going on once, because you can't really see the side of the heater because the plastics are all covering it up. So I'm going to have to get all that off, and then I'll come back and let you know what it is I find. But it would explain why the carpet was wetter on this side than it was on the other side, because it's a long-standing problem. And I suspect what we'll find, and I'll go back to a matrix that I've got on the bench. So here is a plastic heater matrix, and what happens is that fits into the heater box. Oops, that fits into the heater box, and more or less where my hand is where it goes through the bulkhead, and it sits at that sort of jaunty angle. When you remove the heater unit, and this is very, very, very used, this one, I probably wouldn't use this again, but when you remove it from the car, unless you free the top edge of the dashboard, you invariably break that pipe off, and I've seen so many where that pipe is fractured. Someone's probably fractured it and thought, ah, fuck it, didn't mean to do that, glued it back together again and thought that'll hold. And I suspect when I dig it all out, that will not be the case. You can get new matrices. The issue I had with a new matrix about 8 years ago was that this crimp here, where the aluminium core crimps onto the plastic end cap, was not robust enough. So you may want to just double check that before it all goes back in. Because once these are in, and you're driving up the motorway and all of a sudden your windscreen steams up rapidly and you can't see anything because the whole car is full of steam, then you'll realise, yeah, that new matrix I put in has broken. And that's what happened to me in my Range Rover in L95 a few years ago. Anyway, let's get on with getting that dash out. Right, a short while later, the centre console and everything is all out. One of my initial observations is, yeah, and the bottom of the heater box down here is absolutely full of water. So I'm reasonably confident now it's the matrix that's failed. So I shall proceed with removing this very naughty heater unit. I've done a video getting one of these things out before, but in a nutshell, we need to loosen the fixings on the aircon unit here, which goes right away across to over there, pull the whole thing out so it's out of the way. Then I can loosen the top of the dashboard. Then I can get access to the fixings that go against the bulkhead. Then I should be able to also remove the centre console, because I can't get the heater far enough forwards with the centre console in place, so that needs to come out. And yes, quite a small operation. It is one of those things that I think the heater unit on the Range Rover Classic was actually suspended above the production line when they built the car around it. But it could be worse. It could be a more modern car. There you go. I might just be able to get the heater unit out with the aircon unit like that once I've cleaned all those spores off it. I don't want to be breathing that shit in. And it's going to have to come out into the footwell on this side like they always do. But, and there's a big old but, I've never taken one out of a left-hand drive car before. I've only ever done right-hand drive, so I'm not entirely sure how this is going to come out. But typically what I would do is I would pull the bottom end of the, when I've undone all the bolts and undone the top dash, pull the base of the heater out and then slide it out and sideways. Now there should be enough room down here for me to do that, but I don't want to start breaking plastics up here or anything like that. We'll see. I'm going to carry on stripping down, disconnecting loom and pipes and so forth, and we will get there shortly, I am sure. Cleaned up the worst of those spores. Just disconnecting the last few bits of the heater box. So what I really want to do is I want to get these side bits off. That's going to fall off anyway. They can get cleaned up later on. Undo the 3 screws off this piece. Just gives me a bit more space to manoeuvre things around. And then undo the 2 bolts. There's 1 bolt there. There's 1 bolt down here, right at the back on the tip of my finger. And there's 2 on the other side. One thing I did notice on the other side, let's go round. Most pleasant day. A most pleasant day is that the vacuum operated fresh air vent is broken, so it's snapped off. Which is probably why the customer was saying that he was getting just lots and lots and lots of cold air through the car when he was driving down on the morning he dropped the car off about 19 months ago, or whatever it was. And what that effectively would have done, possibly, I just need to check to see where the vent is located, but there would have been a ram effect of fresh air being forced into the heater box, which then would have come out through the vents on the dash. And at those sort of motorway speeds, it's going to be difficult really to... Oh, I found a key ring. Look at that. Falling apart key ring, but the enamel's falling off it. Bibendum. There we are, sir. I found Bibendum keyring for you. Right, okay, so I'm going to undo those 2 bolts, get this heater unit out, and then we can come back. And I say, in fact, what I might do is video me getting this thing out, because I've never done one on a left-hand drive vehicle before. And we're going to see how tricky this might be. Now, at the moment, I've just got the aircon unit just laying across the floor like this. On other cars, I've had to kind of lift it into an upright position, and that then involves undoing the bracket on the bulkhead there that holds the aircon pipes in place. Right, let's see where we go now. So I've done all of the bolts, and now I should be able to, yeah, heating unit is free, so pull the heating unit forwards and off, so the what's its names are out, the stubs are out from the bulkhead. That might need to come off. Oh look, just as we start videoing, Ben starts crushing a skib. Right, that looks like it might just come straight up and out. Actually, it is going to come straight up and out. Now, we have got a couple of connectors going across the back here, which are looped through the bloody heating unit. I've never had that before. There's one. That one can undo. So there's that one. That's going to go there. That's basically for the motor. I've had that one. That's not a problem. But the other one looks like it is all to do with the radio, which is going all the way down there. This is an incredible amount of water pouring out of this unit while I'm doing this. Right, so let's see if we can't untangle that. And we can. There we are. So that now really wants to stay up there, because I need to remember to put that back in when it all reverts back into the car. Right, then out comes the heating unit onto the floor. Let's get it out rather than just tipping water all over the place. And then what you can see over here, these are the two holes where the matrix goes out. Right, heater's out. That was one of my quicker jobs actually. Took me 2 hours to get that out from start. So, right, let's bring you out over here. And there's your heating unit. Grubby looking bastard. Now we need to find out what's going on with the matrix, because you can see here there's rusty water stain all around underneath here, and when I go in here it's very clearly been leaking down here somewhere. I suspect what's happening is it's the end cap that's failed. So, oh look, just found a coin. What's that? Lucky 5-cent coin there. Go back in the car. That can go back in the car. Right, let me go get the workmate out. We're going to strip this thing down. The other thing that wasn't connected, that wasn't connected. So when you're doing your hot and cold, it wasn't actually opening the vent up on the bottom of the... Now that's intact still, unlike the lever on the other side, which is for the fresh air, which has had a piece of Spanish beer tin, I don't know, fitted onto it. And effectively what should happen is that needs to sit... it's just all held together with zip ties and bits of beer tin and stuff. We're going to have to find another one of these plastic levers. But effectively, that wants to be closed unless the vacuum, which is operated by the electrical switch here, the electrical solenoid, vacuum sucks on here, draws through to there, and then that will retract and then open and close this vent. So you can see the amount of dust we've got going on in here. The whole thing is horrific. So I'm going to strip this chappy down. You can't get the motor out on these things without splitting the unit. So let's just pop you over here so I can talk, work two-handed. These seals, this seal is actually looking in fairly good order, so I'm probably going to end up reusing this. It's only really just to seal the heating unit up against the bulkhead. There's no real reason why I can't reuse that. Still got a lot of its original backing tape on it, which is unusual. Now screws, what I tend to do is I will take off the two end plates. Where's my screwdriver? There's my screwdriver. So if I take off, there we go, that screw there comes off, and then out we come, and here we can see the wires, the motor comes out through this end plate. Alright, so that's that bit. I don't know what the motor's going to be like on this thing. if it's even slightly tight, I'm inclined to replace it, because while the heater unit's out, replacing the motor is a sensible thing to do. Bearing in mind that even the youngest of these motors is going to be way over 30 years old now, because they stopped making this style of heater box probably end of 1994, and we're 2025. So there you go. So even the very newest of these will be 30 years old. So if the motor's original in here, it might be that it is just a bit on the tight side. And there's two, let's take that piece off. Sorry, there's two bearings on it, which can cause aggravation. Now, next things I really need to do, I need to get all the clips off around the outside of the body next, I think. That can probably stay up there for the time being. Right, so there's a wedge of these clips. Someone's pointed out that these clips actually might be the same as those you use in a Porsche Cayenne. So don't lose these clips. There's a rusty one there because it's been sitting in all of the water that's been pissing out of this matrix, naughty matrix. Done that lot. So unlike the metal heater box, which you undo the end plates off, these ones the join is right down the middle. I've done a few of these, but they're not always the sort of things that behave. This bastard, I don't know why they put this on. It's like a little circlip that goes around a plastic post. That one came off nicely. Two screws on the back here. Longer screws. Gotta love a long screw. Fucking broken, Richard. You really are fucking broken. Right. There's another second long screw. Aren't we lucky? I need to get this remains of this lug off here. I think that's just going to be a snippy McSnip face. I'm not going in with a knife because I'm not very good with knives. I've had enough of knives. Enough in my life of knives to last a lifetime. That's off. And this chappy should, in theory, come off here, but it might not, of course. So the way this normally comes off here is there's kind of, you just need to push the two halves together, and there it is, it comes off. So that's one half of the broken bit. We're going to have to see if we can't fix that. Sometimes I've fixed them by getting a metal rod, drilling a hole into there, putting something like a pop rivet rod in there, and then linking it up to the other half. So you kind of reinforce it. There's quite a lot of bent and twisted plastics on this. Could just be purely down to the heat of where it's come from. Right, now, on the front face, we have got another one of these stupid round circlips. I don't know why they just didn't carry on putting the, maybe they treated them as tamper-proof, I don't know, I really couldn't tell you. But they're too small for me to get my circlip plier into, and invariably they just come off like that. Not always refitted, I'll be honest. And then onto our back here, another couple of big clips. Now there is a gotcha on this, which I've just remembered. There's a couple of gotchas actually. Whoops. That's the power lead for the motor. So we're almost there on splitting the clamshell. What we also need to do is to disconnect the control linkages, and this front panel is held in place with pop rivets. So control linkages. There's one. Boop. And link comes out. And one on the other side goes down to the bottom vent. And that one should be out, and it is. And then underneath this foam on the front here, there are pop rivets that go through this face. They're along here. Now we might need to replace this foam. There's one. There's the other. There's one. In fact, we can see them on the other side. That's not a problem. So I won't be pulling the foam off just for the sake of it. Pulling it off. I'm not going to pull anything off. Just Richard, behave. I need to take this control linkage off this side as well. So on this side, there's a screw up here, which holds a little clampy plate in. Water's pouring out all over my... It's not even water, it's just rusty water. It's pouring out on my bench. That's the little clamp there. That's the little cable clip there. So take that out. Take the clip off. Put that back in again afterwards. Now, what I tend to do with these, because they're actually just clipped into that black plastic surround, and normally these come out in one bit. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. Let's come out. Right, now that's come out, which is good, but in this, that little black plug there is prone to falling out. Keep it separate. I can go back on there. The rest of it, I think, is pretty much as it is. It needs to be. I might just take this bottom control linkage off just here, just so it's out of the way. It might not want to come off. That's come off. Right, so that can then come off. Going to be a box of tricks. Screw, 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 screw. Screw, 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 screw. That needs to be upright when we eventually split the two halves. Drill these pop rivets next. Because otherwise this will hold the front together. So you're probably not looking at that. And these 4 pop rivets actually holds the two halves together. Like that. So push this side here up rather than pulling that down. So push that bit up because there's a reasonable amount of flexibility there. And now, with that like that, I can continue to extract the two halves and it comes apart in the end. Come on, you bastard. Right, then this whole control panel assembly comes off, complete with all these switches. That all comes off, go over there, and the matrix is going to be out in a second. This whole thing is absolutely dripping wet. It's horrible, absolutely vile. So what we've then got on this side here is you've got a big blanking plate. That normally just slides straight out. It's not, of course it's not going to, probably because it's had some form of glue or something in it. All of this up here dripping wet. I suspect the failure is up this end, looking at the amount of rust on it. That is pretty fucking gopping. Now this here, as I say, should come out. There it goes. Right, that's not normally that tight. That normally just slides out. And then you can get the matrix out. And there's the matrix. All of that to get that bastard out of there. Right, the rest of this now can get cleaned up. So clean it all up. motor feels all right, what I'll do is I'll run the motor up. So I'll pop this end plate back on now, and then once the end plate is all back in place, I will apply power to this, and we'll see if the motor is behaving itself or not. And any noise whatsoever, it gets replaced. Because you don't want to be doing this again, really, do you? Now, this thing, that is miserable, isn't it? That is absolutely revolting. Right, going to see if we can't prove where this is leaking from. So, a couple of hoses, connect it up to my tap, turn the tap on, and you can see the water's coming out at the other end of the matrix. I've got drip coming down here. Have I? Right, let's block the end up. Oh, look. I think that'll be it. There's one over there as well. One hole on each end. That's fat though, isn't it? Might even be frost damage, I couldn't tell you. Might even be frost damage. Because that's weird. Because I've got one split in the casing about here. In fact, I can see it there. And there's another split in the casing over here somewhere. Down there. There you go. It's not gone where they normally go. Right, one half of the heater box cleaned, clips derusted, zinc primed. Other half of heater box, I'm about to clean it up. So really the idea is try and get rid of some of this dust out of here, which I'm doing really by getting in there with a brush and a kind of a brush and some water, and they do come up quite clean, so I don't think they need refoaming. But these need to come out of here first and foremost, so I need to disconnect them, get them out, and yeah, give it a damn good clean up. And then new matrix to go in, probably a new motor. Now, it runs, but I really couldn't tell you how much more longer that's going to run for sweetly. Now, one of the bushes, the motor armature, is right up there on the tip of my finger. The other one is down there, the other side. You see, just about see the contact ring there for the brushes. It's the other side of that. You really need that off in order to get to it, and it's not easy. It's not always that possible. So I'm consulting with the customer as to whether he wants me to replace that or not. Right, there we go, other half cleaned up. That's ready for motor, which I need to discuss with the customer, and matrix, and it can go back in, which would be nice, wouldn't it? Yeah, it cleaned up quite nicely compared to what it did look like, which was absolutely horrific. Gopping would be the word I would use, gopping. Now, this has actually got, quite rare this, still got the temperature control for the aircon attached to it. So when you adjust the temperature, you see it slides the little slider along, which connects into the aircon. Nice, eh? Right, okay. Oh, look, I've forgotten to put that behind there. Right, that can soon come out anyway. It's not a huge issue. I can soon adjust that. That piece there needs to go behind this piece here. I've slid it all into place and not done that. Silly arse. Never mind.